Hi, this is Dan Heisman, Philly tutor for Chess FM. This is the Improve Your Chess video series for ICC members. In today's game, we're going to look at an over-the-board game played, I believe, at a 4100 rate. And so the time stamping here won't mean anything. So let's get right to our game. White opened up with e4. Black played center counter. White took, e takes d5, main line. If you don't know that's the main line, you always want to look up your games afterwards. Find out what the main moves should be. Black plays one of the two major moves, knight f6. Okay, some people call it the Scandinavian. Some people call the whole opening the Scandinavian. Now, what I found from having played this on both sides is the most accurate move here for white is to play knight f3. White instead plays the most popular move, which is d4. Obviously, nothing wrong with that. And now black has the opportunity to either take back on d5, mostly with the knight in this position, or play the Portuguese variation, bishop g4. He plays Portuguese, bishop g4, and now there are several moves. There's bishop e2, there's knight f3, there's even knight e2, and there's f3. White plays the most solid bishop e2, bishop takes, and now the most common here is queen takes, followed by knight f3. White plays the slightly rarer line, knight takes e2, but this is still all major book. Black decides to capture with the queen, threatening the pawn on g2. So white naturally castles, and black plays knight c6. So black's going to play e6 to stop the d-pawn from coming forward later and castle queenside and put pressure on d4. All right, now in the queen takes d5 line on the second move, Grandmaster Larry Kaufman suggests that white should play d4 and c4 instead of the most common move, knight c3. And the same idea would apply to this position. White, instead of playing knight on 1 to c3 to hit the queen here, could actually play a move like either b3 followed by c4, or maybe even knight bd2 followed by c4, although that's a little more tricky. But actually playing c4 here is a little more aggressive if you can get it in safely than it would be to play knight c3. So white plays the natural move. Knight on 1 to c3, and I asked the computer which he preferred. Did he want to play knight on 1 to c3, or did he want to go to play c4? And the computer was pretty clear that he agreed with Larry Kaufman, and Larry gets a lot of his ideas, of course, from his wonderful top-rated computer, Komodo, that pushing the c-pawn here is more aggressive than immediately attacking the queen. So now the main line here, I believe, is queen to h5. Black instead plays queen to d7, which is a little more passive, and that allows white to play the immediate d5 if he wants to. White decides not to do that. That would be the most principled move. White just develops the bishop to e3. And black plays e6, and now there is no threat to play d5 in any of the lines. So black's kind of gotten away with his one move indiscretion here. And black has a very comfortable position. It's completely even. White should continue his development, maybe get the queen out. Instead, he plays h3. I guess he's worried about knight g4, but he doesn't have the bishop pair, and that bishop on e3 is not all that super wonderful. So I'd almost be happy here if black played knight g4 and knight takes e3. All right, so it's black's turn. The computer suggests black should castle queenside here. Certainly nothing wrong with that. Black decides to keep it flexible and play bishop e7. This is one of those positions where, you know, the top 2 or 3 moves are all going to be roughly the same. And black plays bishop e7, nothing critical. And again, white has to figure out what he wants to do here. And white decides if he played h3 on the previous move, why not play a3 on this move, which doesn't make a lot of sense unless you think black's going to castle queenside and you want to start pushing your queenside pawns real fast with b4 on the next move, which isn't ridiculous. But otherwise, you know, white wants to get his pieces out. He wants to move his queen up to d3 or something and then play rook a d1. Notice with only his one pawn in the center not supported by the c-pawn, it's a little